M71408 says, who is better, peak Pippen or peak Grant Hill? I want to hear what you got to say about that, Nelson.
Okay, so the difficult thing about this is Pippen only had 1 year at his peak without Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
He was awesome.
Yes, he was.
He was Grant Hill-like in that year, but the rest of his time was spent with MJ. However, when Grant Hill was in his peak, I saw him go up against Scottie Pippen, and they were basically neck and neck, point for point. And for that reason, I'm going to say peak Pippen.
I would go peak Grant Hill. I think that Grant Hill, without an injury, would be in the same conversation.
Whoa. We just talking about peak.
Yep, but and I'm basing this off of peak. Peak Grant Hill tells me that without injury, we would be looking at his career in the same light that we look at Kobe's, LeBron's. He'd be in that same conversation. Were it not for the injury. And if that had happened, I don't think we even asked this question about who's better, peak Pippen or peak Grant Hill, because we would look at him completely differently because of what he actually accomplished. So if you're just talking about peak, I mean, Grant was threatening a triple-double every night, and Grant was the #1 scoring option on his team, which, like Books was saying, most of Pippen's career, and this is no disrespect to Pippen, I love Pippen, and I usually am the one fighting for Pippen's respect. But in this particular comparison, I think we're talking about two different guys. We're talking about an alpha dog and a secondary guy.
And that is why I pick Pippen, because and we have this discussion about Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson is at best a second option, always.
In his best situation, in his ideal situation.
Right. And talent-wise, he's a second option. He doesn't have first option talent. But he's the best second option in a perfect situation. Like, if I have a perfect situation, my first pick for second option is going to be a Klay Thompson or a Scottie Pippen.
But that doesn't.
Grant Hill, real quick, Grant Hill, I don't think Grant Hill is a great second option. I think he's a guy that needs the ball in his hands. And ultimately, because he wasn't a great three-point shooter and he wasn't super aggressive offensively and he wasn't the defender that Pippen was, I think ultimately Pippen's effect is more positive than Grant Hill's.
See, but in a sense, that's not what the question was, though. The question was, who would you take peak?
Yeah, I would take peak Pippen and knowing I have to get a first option rather than peak Grant Hill knowing I have to get a second option.
I don't know. I think you adding some stuff to the question and adding some layers in there. And but I don't know. I mean, it's not crazy, because like I said, Pippen's amazing, but I don't know.